organizations, and thousands of concerned citizens across this Commonwealth who support the campaign for our communities. I see hundreds of citizens here before me. I know there are hundreds more outside that couldn't even fit in this room today, so give yourselves a hand for such an amazing And your job today is to communicate just that message to your legislators. As you all know, our economic security is dependent on some key fundamentals. That economic security is dependent on a well-educated workforce, transportation infrastructure that works, safe neighborhoods. I saw the public safety sign up there. Safe neighborhoods where companies want to do business and where people want to live. And the kind of investments in people that allow us all to be healthy and productive members of that economy. To achieve these goals, we have to invest in our communities, right? It's not rocket science. This is simple, but sometimes difficult stuff to do. If we want to meet these goals, we have to invest. And to make those investments, we have to raise revenue. There's not some magic solution out there. We all know how budgets work. We've got to raise that revenue. But we have to raise revenue in a way that is both smart and a way that's fair. And let's get real, right? And that's part of what we're here to do today, is to be real with one another, to be real with our neighbors, and to be real with your elected representatives. Part of the way that we do this in a smart way, that we raise revenue in a smart way, is by recognizing that we need substantial new revenue. We can't just nibble around the edges anymore. We can't keep kicking this can down the road. We don't need just enough money to fix our broken transportation system, but we also need enough to make sure that Massachusetts has the best education system in the world. Places to live and to raise a family, and we need a safety net that we know is going to protect our most vulnerable residents. A word about fairness also. Fairness is the second important component of what we need to do with our revenue. We need to raise money in a fair way by doing so in a way that holds down increases on low and middle income families. We need to ask a little more of those who have more and make our tax system more fair and progressive. You guys know this message. You know it by heart, that we're talking about substantial and fair revenue, and that's the message we're asking you to take to your legislators today. There are hundreds of you here today. There are hundreds more coming this afternoon. I heard there were a few buses outside and a few more buses behind them that haven't even gotten here yet. And And your voice is absolutely going to make the difference in this debate that is underway in the legislature. So I thank you again for coming. I am also deeply, deeply honored to be here to introduce our first speaker today. This man has put our state, he has led our state for the last 6 years. And about 6 weeks ago, he put our state on an important path by putting forth a bold vision for Massachusetts. A vision where our state education system, from preschool to college, is the envy of the world. A vision where our roads and our bridges are in good repair. And a vision where our public transit systems are fast, efficient, and affordable. I don't know about you, but that's a vision I can get behind. Here's the reason that I'm most honored and excited to introduce this man today. This man has had the courage to propose not just a vision, but also a plan for how we actually get there. A brass tacks way to actually pay for that vision and to talk honestly with the voters and the people of Massachusetts about the choices that we face with one another. And so as this person comes to the mic, I really want to ask you to give it up for him from deep in your belly and deep in your heart, because we always talk about we want politicians that show courage, and we want politicians that speak honestly and respectfully with us as citizens and as voters and as taxpayers. So it is my great, great honor to introduce my governor and yours, honesty and courage, Governor DeVos.
I was out on the pike during the blizzard. At a point, don't feel bad. It was a point in the process where all the big decisions had been made. We'd already decided whether to declare a state of emergency or to do the driving ban. We'd already dealt with the confidence in the forecasts at that point. And really, there wasn't much else for me to do. I've been out at that infernal bunker. You've all heard about it or seen out in Framingham. And I was out on the pike, one of those rare occasions on the pike, when the only folks out were the plow drivers, the emergency vehicles, and me. And I thought to myself, just as soon as we get on the other side of that blizzard, this pike is going to be jammed with people. Why? Because we depend on it. We depend on it. And I thought to myself then, the reason we get to depend on it is because our grandparents gave us that. We take the T, or the Pike, or I-91, or that infernal bunker in Framingham for granted, because our grandparents made decisions in their time about what to invest in to make their lives and ours better. Better. And those decisions, by the way, and the sacrifice to enable those decisions didn't just contribute to our comfort. They led to the biggest run-up and expansion of wealth and prosperity in the history of humankind. They created jobs. So the question that I have put, not just before the legislature, but before you, before all of us in this Commonwealth, is whether we are prepared in our time to do for the next generation what our grandparents did for us. You know, the ideas that I have proposed are not mine, they're yours. It's you and others like you all over the Commonwealth who are telling us we need a 21st century transportation system. That we need a T that functions even when water gets into the electrical system. And runs late at night. And doesn't have 40-year-old red line cars. That we need roads that aren't so filled with potholes and pockmarks that we don't pay for it on the other end in repairs to our cars and trucks. That we need safe bridges that we can feel confident of and in when we're traveling across them. That we need RTAs, regional transit authorities, that run bus services on the weekends and to the places where the jobs will be. That we need a railroad to connect Boston to the South Coast. That we need an expansion of the T. These aren't my ideas. They're your ideas. And by the way, what we have proposed is a fraction of all the ideas that could be done. But they are the ones necessary to make what we have work and to unlock those parts of the Commonwealth whose economic opportunity is locked up by the lack of transportation. And what else have you told us we need? We need an education system that works for every child, not just some. Our teachers and education leaders, working with these extraordinary young people in our classrooms, have delivered #1 student performance in the nation every year for the last several. And God bless you for that. You know, just like I do, that there are still children trapped in achievement gaps. And those children have certain things in common. They are poor. They speak English as a second language. They have special needs. They are concentrated in places where poverty is concentrated, in our gateway cities. And we know what strategies work. We know that early education for every child works. We know that extending the school day and learning time for kids in middle schools, in those concentrations of poverty, works. We know that making higher ed affordable works. We know that our community college can and should play a more robust role in helping people prepare for the jobs that we're creating. We know what works. And this is why it will come as no surprise to any of you how much consensus there is about what we should be doing, both in transportation and in education, in this building and outside this building. There's a tremendous amount of consensus that what we have proposed to do are things we should do and will make a difference, creating jobs and growth and prosperity. Now here's where it gets hard. How do we do it? How do we do it? And instead of running at full tilt away from the issue everybody is uncomfortable with, we have invited you to have a grown-up conversation about what it actually costs to have the kind of Commonwealth we say we want. Now, there is more than one way to do this. What I have proposed, as you know, is to cut the sales tax from 6.25% to 4.5%, and to raise the income tax from 5.25% to 6.25%. other bells and whistles, doubling the exemptions, eliminating a bunch of deductions and so forth, but here's what it means. If you make $62,000 or less, your total taxes either stay the same or go down. If you make more than $62,000, your total taxes go up according to your ability to pay. To give you a sense of order of magnitude, you make about $100,000, your total taxes go up $300 or $400. Now that's not nothing, that's real money. But half the people in the Commonwealth make less than $62,000.
Oh yeah.
And the folks who are more fortunate, I don't think it is wrong to ask them to contribute according to their ability. That is something I learned from my grandparents, and from my parents, and from my surrogate mother who's sitting over here. I learned that from to whom much is given, much is expected. Now, there's more than one way to accomplish this. But what I have asked is, instead of doing what we always seem to do in this Commonwealth and in this country, which is run the other way when it's time to talk about taxes, that instead we should engage, not in an hysterical way, not in a threatening or belligerent way, but as grown-ups in a fact-based way about taxes, because taxes are the price of civilization. So I'm glad you're here, but I'm going to get away from this podium because this is not where you need to be. Where you need to be is at every single House and Senate office today, talking to the members and to their staff about the value of these investments in your own lives, in your own family's lives, and in our future. And you need to talk to each other. Because as marvelous as it is that you are all here, you also know that your own colleagues, some of them, are a little squishy about the question of not the worthiness of the investments, but how nice it would be if somebody else paid for it instead of us. I understand that. We've been conditioned to think that the whole conversation about revenue is out of bounds. And all I want you to do is confront the simple idea that that notion is self-defeating. Because if we decide not to make these investments, that's a choice too. That is a choice to leave 30,000 3- and 4-year-olds waiting for access to quality early ed. That is a choice to say to all of your kids and grandkids, if you can't afford the kind of education at the higher level that we know makes a difference in job growth and opportunity, tough luck. Tough luck. That's a choice that says, if the tea breaks down all the way up to alewife when there is water in the switch in Park Street, and you can't get to work, or we fix that by just raising fares as high as we can think, tough luck. What we're saying instead is that we all should invest in all of this because we all have a stake in all of this. Because that's what it means to be a Commonwealth. So have the conversation and engage. And be flexible on different ways to accomplish these ends. But let's be real clear that these ends are worth it. They are worth fighting for. And that this is our moment to do for another generation what our grandparents did for us. I read a comment over the weekend in the newspaper about how inviting all of you to come into the State House and advocate was my using you as props. And I thought to myself, how upside down that is. Because if anything, those of us who were elected by you are your props, not the other way around. The question is, are you going to use us to get what you want, to get what you need, to get what we know makes a stronger Commonwealth today and tomorrow? I say you do, and I'm glad you're here.